Hello, this is IP Stories by 4IP Council, the podcast about innovation and intellectual property. Join us and you will hear about the journeys through invention, creation, and IP understanding of our guests.
I'm Pinar.
And I'm Marta, and we have with us today André Azevedo, CEO and co-founder of WingDriver. I actually met him during the award ceremony at the Mashware Innovation Awards, where he was a finalist. Hello, André. Thanks so much for joining us today in IP Stories, and congratulations on being one of the 12 projects selected around the world. It must have been such a thrill.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, it was an amazing event. Promoting social innovation, that is what we want, is to impact humans' lives and for the better. And it was a great opportunity for us to tell the market and tell people what we are doing.
That sounds like an incredible experience. And before we dive into WingDriver, I'd love to hear a little bit about your background and what key moments and experiences have led you to become an entrepreneur in AI and mobility space.
Yeah, so this started. So I started working in NGOs, building activities for people. So creating ways of meeting new people and etc. And that was where I started creating something. Then I entered university, of course. I was electrical engineer. Then I finished the degree, and I didn't want to work as electrical engineer. So I joined a company as an innovation consultant, building innovation projects for other companies. So preparing investment processes and public funding opportunities. And that's where I mix the two things, creating things, but for the other people. And at some point, myself and my co-founder, more or less in the same week, we fall asleep at the wheel while we were driving back to home. Myself in the highway, and luckily I didn't crash, but my co-founder crashed and totaled two cars, right? He crashed to a parked vehicle, and he was really lucky. So in that week, we start thinking about, we are not bad drivers. This happened to us. I never have another crash after that, or I never have a strong crash. He never have another crash after that one. So we are not bad drivers, but what happened? How can we fix this? So he was on the tech side, I was more on the business, and we started developing technology to use computer vision, artificial intelligence to start monitoring the driver's faces and alert them in real time. So it's how we end here, with the goal of try to fix this problem, try to support any driver, because I normally say that you already fall asleep at the wheel and you understand this problem, or you're gonna fall asleep at the wheel and hopefully you have WingDriver to support you. Because you don't control your blinking, so you don't control the time that you spend with the eyes closed while you are driving and highly fatigued.
Wow, that must have been such an intense experience, and I'm really glad that you used it to develop something that could help other people. I think that's the most powerful kind of innovation. So WinDriver is such a unique solution. The fact of using AI on a smartphone to monitor driver alertness. Could you explain to us how did you come up with this idea? And also if there was any particular problem you were trying to solve?
Yeah. So at WingDriver, we saw, of course, before starting the company, what were the technologies available on the market. And all the technologies that are available on the market, they need a special hardware solution that needs to be installed by a professional, which means that with that solution, you can solve a niche problem. You can target fleets and small amounts of vehicles. And when we look at the biggest player, they only have like 70,000 vehicles with their technology. So they are only supporting 70,000 users, and they are working since 2000s. So we need to change we need to look at what is the device that everyone has in their pocket. It's a smartphone. Which is the device that fleets and professional drivers are starting to implement in their dashboards to digitalize their processes, smartphones and tablets. So the first objectives that we defined for WingDriver were it needs to work offline because you are not connected all the time to the internet connection. And we need to find that you are sleeping in less than 1 second. We need to work, and our AI needs to perform very well on very low processing units, such as smartphones and tablets. And with this, we can virtually reach every driver. Because roads are shared, you need to support and assist all the drivers. Because you can be the best driver, and you are you get in an accident. It was not your fault, but you are in an accident, right? So you need to try to fix the problem for everyone. So the third one was we need to build a system. We need to build a system that can be integrated in any existing app with large user base. So our goal is to be inside of mobility apps that already are used by ride-sharing drivers, professional drivers, and consumer drivers. And with this, we can grow as fast as possible and start targeting a huge amount of users. These three pillars allows us to collect data and improve our AI with real driving data from the real driving scenario to build a technology that is better than what we have today. So this is the vision that we have for WingDriver, is to assist everyone, to teach everyone in the right moment in time where they are doing a bad behavior or not so safer behavior. And this is what we look, if we look at smartphones, they already changed the way we take photos. So you don't need another camera. It changed the way that we navigate. We use apps to navigate to go from point A to point B. Before we were using GPS software and hardware solutions. So this is exactly this. We are digitalizing the driver monitoring system in order to be able to be used by anyone, everywhere in the world.
Wow. It sounds like you really made this solution easily accessible to everyone. And it's quite the journey that WingDriver has been through. And I wonder, what were the early days like from concept to product development? Did you already know the technology would work, or was it like a trial and error?
No, it's like two American business angels gave us like $56,000 ticket, and the goal was, Rui, our CTO, Rui, can you put AI working on smartphones? That was the first barrier of entry. He solved that in less than 1 month. So on the second month, we were already with a super easy app in order to start collecting data and improve the AI. So that was the first barrier. Then there is a lot of other barriers such as accuracy, precision, speed, size of the SDK and the technology. And later on, as the product gets more matured, we start to have challenges in terms of business development, in terms of how to position ourselves in the market, what are our unique selling propositions, what we need to comply in terms of privacy, in terms of cybersecurity. So all of those aspects that we need to be prepared for the future and for the long plan. So today, for example, we started our technology matured last year, so we start right now, or we started this year and the end of last year to sell our technology for our customers. So for example, in this month we started a new customer, or we started with a new customer in Kazakhstan. That is a place that it was not in our roadmap geographically, but the company that we are working, yes, it was on our roadmap. So and the way that they drive in Kazakhstan is completely different from what is our experience, Asia, US, and Europe, right? So we updated the technology 3 times in 2 weeks, and this is the speed that we need to go in order to go from thousands of users to hundreds of thousands of users. That is what gonna happen in during this year, hopefully.
I really like that the way startups work, like that sort of like very fast pace of like moving forward. I think that's the best way to adapt to the markets. So in the world of driver monitoring, I guess there are already other players and probably big players. So how do you handle competition? What's different about WingDriver?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, there are competitors that are working on this technology since 2000, right? 25 years ago. And when we look at our competition, we look where they are lacking innovation, where we can make a difference. So no one at the moment, unfortunately, actually, is doing driver monitoring systems on smartphones. We saw one company that was trying and didn't succeed because it's really, really hard. So combine it, for example, Rui and Philippe, they have more than 20 years on computer vision and AI. That's why we can handle and we can develop such a different algorithm. So we are building everything from scratch. So when we look at our competition, everyone decided to build an hardware first and then the software because it's easier. It's easier to build the best camera possible in the best install in the best position in all the vehicles, and then you build the software on top of it. But that blocks them to work with consumers, blocks them to work with ride sharing companies, and blocks them to work with a lot of fleets. They don't have budget to afford buying another device, right? So that is where we place ourselves. We place ourselves in a most adaptable AI system. So you can put your phone on the central console, a pillar, whatever. We collected millions of data points right now in order to be able to be in all of those positions, to give to the user the freedom to position their phone wherever they want. Also, because as I was mentioned, also because we want to be fast and very good in terms of accuracy, we are always labeling a lot of information and retrain our AI modules. We do it more or less like 2 times a month. So this is a very high speed, which means that our AI, we can say that our AI changes and improve accordingly to each person preferences and each person position on the phone, and etc etc etc. So comparing to the competition, what we want is a more accurate and fast algorithm, and going for completely innovative ways of developing everything, and without the need of any specific hardware. And this is what differentiates us from the competition. And what we feel is that with our system that can be implemented in any existing app, we're gonna surpass the capability and the amount of data that our competitors have in a fraction of the time. We expect to reach more than 70,000 vehicles as our biggest competitor has in less than a year. So which means that our AI gonna collect much more information and be much more accurate and robust in a shorter period of time. So that is the objective, to be the fastest growing drive monitoring system in the planet in order to work perfectly in any phase, in any phone position, with any smartphone, in any light condition.
Wow. Well, that sounds like a very smart way to differentiate yourself in such a busy and diverse market. And since you talked about all these innovations and technologies that are included in WingDriver, I would like to switch the topic to protection. And at what stage did intellectual property come to the picture for WingDriver? Was it something you
Yeah.
prioritized from the beginning? Or,
Yes.
yeah.
Since day one, that we look at protect our IP very with a very concentrated approach. So at the moment, all the algorithms and all the knowledge that we bring to the table is stored and is built in a way that only Rui almost has access to all of it, right? All our workers work, of course, with contracts, and that protects the IP, that gives the IP to the company, and I don't have access, for example, for all the code. It's GUI only. So this protects internally the IP, and also we are preparing three patents in terms of how our system works, in order to protect and to give our freedom to operate in the target geographies. So that is in our pipeline to protect how we do things, because we do things differently from our competition. That's where we are pushing the state of the art. So we are building new algorithms and new ways of doing things in order to evolve and to push the state of the art in this area for what we think that is the best for the user and for the driver. So summary, we protect everything internally, and we're gonna protect the IP with patents soon.
Okay. And talking about patents, I think you're talking about patenting your software. And could you, since you talked about like protecting it in different geographies, different jurisdictions, can you talk about the differences between patenting software in Europe and the US, and how those differences influence your IP strategy?
Yeah. So with our software is changes each week, more or less, or each 2 weeks, which means that for us, patent algorithms, that is a possibility in US, not in Europe. It's not for us. Our software is not stable enough to patent the software itself. We need to patent how our system works and the idea, not so much how our algorithms are made, because we don't feel that gives us an edge and gives us a protection according to the other companies that are working on this field. So that is where we place ourselves. So we don't want to patent algorithms, we want to patent the idea. On top of that, that is the most important part on when we are talking about the AI. It's all about data, right? It's all about conserving, maintaining, and use the data wisely with accordingly to the user preferences. So for us, working in the European environment, US environment, and in Asian environment, Europe has the most strict rules in terms of GDPR. But that is really good because it protects the user and protects ourselves. So we are GDPR compliant, meaning that any user knows what they are sharing, what's shared, they can remove everything. So our solution actually, if you go for our app, that is where we are showcasing how this can be built to our customers. On the third thing on the menu is like privacy. User can control on each moment if he's sharing data with us, if it's not sharing, and if it's sharing, what data is sharing with us. So they have full control, and that is what we believe that is important for any customer. It's giving you the full capability to monitor and control your privacy accordingly to the most highest standards in Europe, for example.
I would like to go back to something that you mentioned before. We will get back to data privacy because that's also such an interesting topic. But you mentioned that you were lucky enough to find two business angels that were able to finance your projects from the beginning. And for many startups, however, financing IP can be a big challenge. So I would like to know, how did you manage this aspect? If you have received any additional support or advice from anyone else, or even if you have been part of any other programs that you would like to, get everyone to know about that might have helped you.
Yeah. So we started in April 2021, as you mentioned, with two business angels. Then we start having more business angels to the table because we need smart money.
Mhm.
And in our business angel group, we have people from that work 25 years on Continental, that work on navigation maps industry for more than 20 years,
Oh, that's
that
great.
worked on the aftermarket selling navigation systems, people that work on Uber, people that work on Virginia Tech Transportation Institute as a researcher for driver monitoring systems. So we
Mhm.
start having all of that knowledge in order to support myself and Rui to build the best company possible in this area. So, and at some point, we need more support. So we entered accelerator programs such as Techstars. So with Techstars, we increased our network of mentors and investors. We learn a bunch about, of course, how to build a startup, what you need to do, product market fit, marketing, communication, HR, financial, etc. And with that, we get more prepared for what is in the future. Right now, we are raising a $2.5 million round in order to go from the pre-seed stage to the seed stage, start deploying our technology in the markets or with the companies that we are pushing through, and have more staff, increase the speed of development, increase the speed of sales. So this path since April 2021 have a lot of differences and a lot of growth, of course, and it's difficult to build anything alone, right? So that's why we have 3 co-founders. That is really cool. But also, backing my decisions, I have a lot of people with much more years and of experience than myself that I often ask, hey, what I should do in this, what I should do on that. Actually, I work with the 2 angels in a weekly basis, where they support me in everything, right? So this is the type of structure that I think is the best, because you don't feel so alone as normally the CEO feels, right? Because it's not only me taking the decision, it's myself, my co-founders, and some of the business angels that have strong experience on this area.
I think that's such a great advice, because it's true that I think choosing the right investors from the beginning can really make such a huge difference, to have not only the money, which is great, but you also need the talent, the expertise, definitely. So going back to what I left before about data protection, so AI-based innovations like yours raise very interesting IP questions, especially when it comes to algorithms and data. And I know that data privacy is important for you. So how do you approach these challenges in terms of protecting your competitive advantage?
So first is very good lawyers. So you need to be ready since day one. Because you need to collect data. For us is critical, right? We're gonna use an image that we collected from a driver many times, because today we are labeling sleep data, tomorrow we are labeling sleep, distraction, face position, key points on the face, emotions, whatever. So it's important to be able to use the same data set for many different purposes along and in line with our product backlog. So we want to do things such as measuring heart rate, detecting alcohol and use of drugs while you are driving. So we want to fight all of those. So the data that we collect today, we are collecting for one purpose. Tomorrow or in 2 years, we're going to use the same data in order to build the new algorithms that we want to push in terms of the state of the art. So this is how important it is, the data. So for us, we are an AI first company, right? AI first company means you need to collect data, learn with that data, build your AI, and then that AI gonna go for the market to collect more data and keep on improving. So for us, having since day one, the agreement from the user to understand what we collect, how we use the data, how we can delete the data, all of those processes, all the servers where we store the data, and everything must be in line with the highest normatives, that is GDPR. So if you can work in Europe, you can work everywhere in the world. So it's what we do. So today we have servers in 3 areas in the world, because we need to collect data from 3 different regions, which means that we need to comply with this kind of legislation. And on top of that is how we store and we use the data. So cybersecurity issues and etc. Can need to be covered. All the versioning of the systems, So we need to be although that we are a startup and we are moving super fast, we need to be organized while moving super fast. Because if you are not organized while you are moving super fast, you're gonna lose it for sure. When you are moving slow, you can be a little bit less organized. But when you are moving fast, you need to be super well organized. So working in partnership with the companies and people that know more than us on these areas are very important, because I don't need to know everything in the world. I need to be in working in collaboration with people that knows a lot of stuff better than myself, and that is the plan always.
Yeah, I think it's important to know what you don't know. To
Yeah.
know enough to know that there are gaps in your knowledge that you need to fill with other experts.
Yeah. And it must be very comforting for your users to know that they are secure in terms of data protection, and you pay such attention to this issue. And this must be alongside of the many challenges of managing a startup, like one little aspect, which is very important. But I wonder, on a personal note, what has been the most difficult challenge you've faced on your entrepreneurial journey so far, and
Mhm.
how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so a lot of challenges, of course, that we overcome. I think one that there are two that I think all the entrepreneurs have difficulties. One is fundraising, another one is building the team, right? Because building the team is critical. It's like we are three, and then you enter another person in the team, and that person means that we're gonna be four. It's 25% of our team, right? It has a strong influence on how we work together. So that is one, and we are growing. We are now 9. The goal is to reach in the next 2 years above 20 workers and team within our team, because we need it. We need to speed sales, to increase the speed on sales, and we need to increase the speed of product development. So we need more people with a lot of knowledge, and as I mentioned, with more knowledge than myself for me to learn with them, and to create a bigger value for the company. And now the other one is fundraising. When you are pushing too hard the innovation, so when we are doing things for the first time, I always compared the difference between being the Uber founder and being the Bolt founder. Being the Uber founder that digitalized the way that you ask for a taxi and you ride on a taxi, it's hard because you need to show everyone that it's possible, right? Being Bolt, it's much more like, yeah, they have done it in the US, I'm gonna do it in Europe, right? It's easier. It's a little bit easier. It's not easy. It's a little bit easier. So I feel the same. We are like the Uber. We are digitalizing or transforming the way that our monitoring system works, and we are digitalizing the process for smartphones. And that is a very big challenge. Has a lot of risk. So it's a lot of almost all our capital comes from US and not so much from Europe. We are starting to have investments from Europe because we already crossed some barriers in terms of the risk, which means that we are a less risk company, and we are more in line with the culture on European soil. So we are very proud to also always say that we are in both sides of the Atlantic, that are the best sides to be in the world. So we are in US and you are in Europe. We have presence in US, you have presence in Europe. We have team in US and team in Europe, right? And this is going to be the future of our company. And that is the plan, to take advantage of the best areas in the world to build your company. You are building a company to work worldwide. So you need to be in the best places possible to keep you growing and as fast as you can and accordingly to your objectives. So I think those are the two biggest challenges, because technology, it's tough. What Rui and Philippe they do and the team is really tough, because sometimes you research and you research and you research and you kill that because it didn't reach the goal, right? But at least you are already clean that path, and now you're gonna start another one. So it's also really hard. It's really hard what we are doing in terms of the AI. We are building our neural networks from scratch because we need that. But on my side, at least, that are my main responsibilities: funding and team. It's the hardest ones.
So we have come to the question I think most entrepreneurs were looking forward to hear. So if you were to advise other early stage entrepreneurs, especially those working with AI or digital technologies, what would you say about integrating IP into their business strategy from the start?
Yeah, critical. You need to. It's going to be your best friend for your company. So you need to be, since day one, preparing you to be in line with the normatives. So you need that from since day one if you are an AI first company. If you use data as your main fuel to build your technology, so you need to do that, and you need to be prepared for that since day one. So it's find the right partner to support you on that journey, because in one day or another day you're gonna need that. So as better prepared as you are, as less risk you're gonna take. So since they want that, you need to be aware of that, and you need to be prepared for that. Otherwise, maybe you need to kill your AI because you were not able to use that data to train your model, and then it's a mess, right? So be prepared since day one if you are an AI first company that needs data to build the solution that you want.
So I'm afraid we are reaching the end of the interview, but I have one final question for you, Andre, regarding WingDriver. And I would like to know if there are any upcoming launches, partnerships, expansions, anything that you would like to share with us about the future of your company.
Yes, massive stuff are gonna come in the next few months. So if everything goes well, I think by the end of the year, we're gonna pass to hundreds of thousands of users using our technology with only one customer. That is the growth that we are projecting for this company, a very, very fast growth, because we are a system. So we're gonna be inside of an app that already have 100,000 users. US and Australia, be ready, because maybe gonna happen something for teenagers there, and Chile. I think in Chile also we're gonna start doing something that's gonna start assisting consumers also, and that's maybe forecast for next year. In terms of technology, yeah, a lot of new things that we're gonna build in the next 2 years in partnership actually with universities and medicine schools, because we are always on the verge of the state of the art. So we need doctors to label data, engineers to collect data, and us to build the AI. So we need to have all of this knowledge and the shared information between us and researchers in order to build the best AI possible to change the way we assist drivers as best as we can for everyone get home safely. That is our main objective. So a lot of new things gonna happen for sure this year, and so be ready, and we're gonna start assisting massively amount of people during this year and next year.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much, Andre, for sharing this time with us and giving us so much information about the early stages and the growth of your company. It's been really a pleasure to hear from you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to meet with both of you, and thank you for doing this, for sharing our vision to everyone else, in order for everyone to be more ready and more prepared, at least with our small experience that we have, to build startups, build AI systems in the market, and start changing the way we live and impact for the better. Thank you so much
Yes,
for
especially with such a strong social impact. And we are all very grateful because, we all had experiences on the wheel. So
do not text and drive, please, because you're not able to do multitasking while you are driving. Do not forget that.
yeah, so true.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you, Andre.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to IP Stories by 4IP Council. Visit our website on 4ipcouncil.eu to find out more and check out the links mentioned during this episode. If you liked it, remember to share and subscribe.